Well, good evening. Welcome to Rivalz Race Chat, Clinton and Adams. We are every Tuesday. How you doing today, brother?
I noticed, I'm doing well, thanks. I noticed that Spencer brought us up really slowly, like there was a bit of drama before your red forehead was unveiled, but you're looking good.
Uh, you look good too, brother. Let's talk about fresh back from Mexico. So it's interesting that France is welcome aboard. We heard that a couple times since Thursday. Went down to celebrate Adam's 20th anniversary, and what a great time it was. We've got some videos, some pictures a little bit later in the program, and I'll let you take it from there, Adam. However you want to queue up what's going to happen later tonight.
We'll talk about that all later, and then we'll even talk about the fact that I chatted a little bit before we went away on the show, and you dropped the subject real quick, so I thought, Clinton's ashamed that he's going away for the first time in like 25 years. So he didn't want to talk about it. Now, you're going to see by the end of the show why he finally is okay with talking about it. But we had a great time. But more important things to talk about, Clinton. We got some big stuff on the show tonight. Super excited to have Ryan Dyson coming on, fresh off a big announcement. And let's not give his thoughts away, but I was really pleased when I talked to him today about coming on tonight, about what he had to say about things. Of course, Greg McPherson with the big show coming up this weekend as well. So we've got lots to talk about. It's going to be a fun night. We get to Mexico at the end of the hour.
Yeah, let's jump into things right away. Of course, we see your questions and comments, so if you got anything you want us to talk about, we'll try and jump into that for you as always. First thing, though, we have a new supporter here and want to welcome Freshstone Brands to the channel. A new 3-year deal here, so we're going to be helping with roll out a bunch of new products for them, and super excited to work with their team. Jen Booth's been a great partner for us through the Pinty's brands over the years, and now with Freshstone, and we're super excited to continue that relationship. And Adam, just before we show some of the commercials and a bit of the logo, your thoughts on the deal?
Super excited. And I know it's a connection that we've had for a while, Clinton, but it is always exciting to me when a new brand comes into the fold in motorsports. And we can talk about that a little bit later, too, because there's been some interesting social media posts and conversation about who contributes, who gives, and who takes, and who's a functioning member of the racing community and who might not be pulling their weight, and some of the misconceptions on both sides. But the fact that another brand wants to come on board and share the love in motorsports, and I think it's going to be felt at all levels.
Yeah, so just off the top, proud to announce a new 3-year deal with both G-Force TV and Oshweekend Speedway with Freshstone Brands and the Freshstone Racing branding you're going to see, and a lot of their new products. And this fits right in well with the kind of the mantra we've been working with you and Dave Huntsinger with the weight loss challenge. Really healthy products, super good quality. Let's see some of the commercials. Spencer, show us what you got. We sent you over a package today. I'm not even sure what we ended up with, but let's see what we ended up with.
Tiffany Gate Fresh Gourmet. Our savory pasticides can be prepared any way you like. Serve warm or chilled, as a main or as a side. Tiffany Gate Fresh Gourmet. Create your way to great taste. Tiffany Gate Fresh Gourmet. Our savory potato sides can be prepared any way you like. Serve warm or chilled, as a main or as a side. Tiffany Gate Fresh Gourmet. Create your way to great taste.
Pretty awesome that we can help them bring out these new brands. So these are new brands you're going to start seeing in your grocery stores. So make sure you check them out. This is a new logo you'll start seeing this weekend at Motorama. They're going to unveil the new Freshstone Racing brand, which is super exciting, Adam, that they're going to take, their logo, not just slap it on the sport. They're going to create a Freshstone Racing brand and events. One of them is going to be the Oshweekend Dirt Race, which we're going to have a big announcement next week, and hopefully we can get Jen Booth on. She was unavailable tonight, but we'll definitely be coming on the program to talk about their interest in motorsports. And I mean, a lot of the same folks came out of Pinty's, and we've seen what they did, so super excited to see what Freshstone does, and super proud that they chose us.
Let's pull the curtain back a little bit. It's no secret that Tony Spiteri loves racing. Jen Booth worked for Tony Spiteri, but there were a lot of people who worked for Pinty's while Tony was there who didn't entirely buy into motorsports marketing. And Tony didn't just do it because he loved racing. I mean, that was a big part of it. He did it because he could show results. He could show how to build a program, how to invest in our sport, but most importantly, how to give it a return for the company that made sense for the company to keep spending money. So part of what he brought to the table, there were people who never did buy in. Jen Booth bought in because she saw the process, she saw the results, and she saw the strength in the relationships. And we've been fortunate to be one of those relationships, Clinton. And that's how the sport can grow. When people do branch out to other ventures and they still bring that passion for the sport and the understanding of a good program. And I think of Freshstone Foods. I think of the work that Ridgeline is doing with Josh Dottie and their team up there. There's a lot of partnerships, WeatherTech with LP Dumoulin. It's so much more than slapping your name on a race car or just putting your branding on a billboard. It's activation. It's really getting involved into the sport and having a return.
So make sure you stop by the Motorama booth for Freshstone Racing. They'll be there, a big trailer and a race car and a full display, as will a lot of our partners, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as Greg McPherson joins us later on the program. But our first guest has some good news coming on. We first saw this guy pick up a win on G-Force in our stream broadcast, and we'll get ready to bring him on now. Ryan Dyson is going to join us momentarily as soon as Spencer gets him pixelated in the right orientation. He's doing backflips in our screens, but here we are. Hopefully he's not.
We have a screen, so we have our part of the picture that you see at home is about that big. Clint and I have another frame on the outside, so we can kind of see what's coming up. If Spencer needs to send us a message, he can send us. And we just saw Ryan Dyson turning and turning and turning. So we hope it's not a sign of things to come, because we want to see Ryan stay right side up and enjoy a prosperous 2023. Are we ready for him, Spencer? Let's bring him on.
First, I thought Spencer was just trying to get the orientation right, and then I think he was just screwing with him at the end there, or either that, or Ryan was doing it the same way. Two media guys playing jokes on each other. Ryan, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me tonight, guys. I appreciate it.
It's always fun to talk racing with you, Ryan, because you're as big a fan as you are a participant, but even better when you have reason to want to chat. Talk about what's going on.
Yeah, we have a big season lined up with our super stock, and we announced yesterday that it was going to get a little bit bigger. We're going to go NASCAR Pinty Series racing for one race to start and see how that goes. We're planning on running September 24th at Delaware Speedway in the 28, of course. And yeah, we got I think 15 super stock races scheduled this summer. We're going to run for full-time points in the Quick Super Stock Series full-time at Delaware Speedway in the weekly series, and then we'll cap it off racing against Canada's best.
Ryan, let's back it up a bit. You don't have a lot of experience over the years. Some of the guys jumping into that deal. You haven't been at it that long. Maybe let's back things up a bit and talk about when you got started and how many years you've been actually doing this, because not all that much of a veteran yet, but you're showing the finishes.
Yeah, so I think we started 2017. We got started in a bone stock. We did that for one season, and it did not go well. We had nothing but issues, blew up motors, and it was definitely, what have we gotten ourselves into? But we tried, we persevered, and we ended our bone stock career with some top tens and had some good runs. And then over that winter, we decided to go V8 style race. We built a truck to run Delaware Speedway, and we did that for a season. Won some races, did pretty well with that. And then over that winter, we rebuilt the truck. We were going to do that again, and then COVID hit. So during the 2020 year, Delaware announced they weren't going to run. We got a good opportunity to purchase a super stock, and we figured, what the heck, let's do it. So we went ahead and we purchased a super stock, ran the 3 races with the United Racing Series. Our first race was going okay, and then we had mechanical issues. And then the second race kind of was okay. And then the third race, we went out and finished second at Jukasa Motor Speedway. So I think at that time we thought, okay, let's keep doing this. We're doing the right thing. And then we went out 2021 at Delaware Speedway, won Rookie of the Year, finished third in points in a stellar field. And then last year we went on tour again and finished fifth, and tied with Sean Chenoweth for fifth in the Quick Wick Series points, and had a bit of a trying year at Delaware Speedway, but we did get our first win, had lots of top fives. And yeah, about it. Definitely not lengthy of a career as some people have, and not as long of a career, but definitely a work in progress.
You know what? Aren't we all? Rob Longboat, one of our longtime viewers, just asked a great question. Said, okay, who is Ryan Dyson? You did a great job of talking us through your racing resume, Ryan, as far as behind the wheel. Talk about your involvement in the sport with your brother and where it came from, because I find that equally as cool. You've been involved in the sport for a lot longer than you've been racing it.
Yeah, I think I said it in Victory Lane the night that we won our first race. Our racing career is about as backwards as it can get, but I wouldn't change it. We started off, I couldn't even tell you off the top of my head what year, probably 2009, 2010, working at Delaware Speedway. And then when the United Racing Series became a thing, winter of 2014 into 2015, we started working for the series, doing the website, doing interviews, social media, all that stuff, graphics and everything, my brother and I. And just the love of the sport, right? I knew I needed to get into it from that side of it. I mean, it wasn't enough sitting on the hill, right? I wanted to get into it, involved in it, see what I could do to get my feet wet. And then ultimately one day we just decided that also wasn't enough, and I wanted to be behind the wheel. But yeah, we've definitely been involved in racing for a long time. I grew up at Delaware Speedway on the hill, watching guys like DJ Kennington drive around, and now I'm going to drive one of his cars.
And so how did the deal come together? What was it? Sponsor come to you? Did you guys go find the sponsors? When did the talk start with DJ? Give us a bit of the backstory.
We've had talks for a little while. I don't know exactly about the timeline, but it was an idea that was thrown out, and it was something that, you always want to get to the top level. You always want to get to a certain point where it's like, okay, I've made it, right? And so we started talking about it, and then our amazing partner, Douglas Window and Door. We went to them with the idea and the opportunity, and they fell in love, and they love what we're doing. They love the exposure that they're getting. They love everything about the race team and stuff. Oddly enough, the first ever time they visited the racetrack, they brought all their employees and stuff out last year, and that happened to be the night that we won our first race, if you could script that any better. And so we approached them with the idea and talked to DJ a bit, and everybody was supportive, and everyone said, you know what, let's do it. It's not every day an opportunity like that can happen. So let's jump on it and let's see where it goes.
Did you have any of these aspirations back in 2017 when you started Bone Stock Racing, or did you have a script laid out or a path laid out for yourself?
About halfway through 2017, I just wanted to finish a race. We were sitting in the shop working on the Super Stock last night, actually, and I just kind of stepped back for a second. I looked at it, and I actually said, in 2017, I could not have imagined having a race car this nice. The work that we've done this winter, and Rick Verburn has helped us. When we unload that car on Media Day on April 22nd, it's nice. It's a beautiful machine, and I can't wait for everyone to see it. And so I guess the short answer there is, back in 2017, no, I did not think that it was even possible to get to that level. We were just, could we even do it? We had an open trailer. We had not even a full-size pickup truck towing the car around. And I'm not sure if we even thought it was possible, but yeah, I mean, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, to be honest with you.
Ryan, my question for you is maybe one of the obvious ones. Why not strike a deal with the APC series, which you guys are intimately involved with? Basically, from day one, you've kind of stepped over that step of the ladder, so to speak.
Yeah, I like to do things unconventionally, and I like to strive for the top. I'm a very firm believer, if you're going to do something, do it right. Do it to the fullest of your abilities and take every opportunity you can get. this was the opportunity. I mean, I didn't even really, we didn't even really look at that avenue, honestly, to be honest with you. It's funny you asked that, but yeah, if you're going to do something, do it right. And if you want to get somewhere, just make it happen. So I would love to do the APC series one day. I mean, there was a point over the winter or towards the end of last season where we did talk, should we go late model racing? That was a very serious conversation we had. Ultimately, we decided we would go one more year in the super stock. I'm not committing to a late model in 2024, but we did have that conversation. We felt that we wanted to have a little more experience in a super stock. And yeah, one day I would like to get to the APC series full time and the NASCAR Pinty series full time though.
I'll tell you why I love what you're doing, Ryan. And I love the APC series and I love the NASCAR Pinty series, so there's no secrets there. I feel, and agree with me or disagree with me because I'm curious on your opinion, I feel that you have a better chance of a good result in the NASCAR Pinty series coming in as a newcomer than you do in the APC series. It's the length of the races, the style of the races. You can run a strategy to stay out of trouble in a Pinty series race. It doesn't always work. APC, it seems to me to be successful in that series. You've got to put yourself in the hornet's nest at all times, and it can jump up and bite you. And with the NASCAR product, you're going to see yourself on TSN, so you also know that you're going to show your partner on TSN. It's more of a controllable destiny. Am I off the mark there, Ryan?
No, I think that's definitely fair. The Pinty series, we're going to have a little bit of an opportunity to get behind the wheel ahead of the time too, which was definitely something that played into the decision. Being able to go out there and get some practice laps beforehand and get comfortable and get up to speed before the event day even shows up is definitely something that's important. I don't just want to jump into a car and go, hee-haw, here we go. So I definitely don't think that you're off the marks there. I would definitely agree with that. The tire management thing is something that's going to be new to us, but I don't think that it's something that we're going to struggle with too bad, I hope. But I definitely don't think that what you've said is unfair at all.
Ryan, let's face it. The Kennington cars know how to get around Delaware. You know you're going to come with a great setup to start. Let's switch things back to this year, though. Quick super stocks. For those who don't know about the series or maybe understand why it's such a good division to be in and a good tour to follow, what are some sticking points that stick out in your mind when you're describing the quick super stock series?
Dynamite's the first word that comes to my mind. I mean, we went into that championship race last year and we ended up finishing tied for 5th in points. If I would have passed one car in the last 5 laps, we would have finished 3rd in points. So it's insane that going into that race, 8 cars had a match. Now the slightly shorter season does tribute to that, but I think we could have ran. I think the battle would have been. It doesn't seem like there's a dominant car completely on tour. I mean, Zardo went out and definitely turned some heads the first season, but I think last year there was a lot more balance in the series, and I think that there's 10 cars every single race that could win, and I think the diversity in the field is something that's unparalleled, and the racing's really good. I mean, I don't have any wood around me to knock on, but we haven't had a yellow at Flamborough Speedway in the Superstock series yet. The quality of racing is through the roof. The respect on the track is amazing, and there's just some really good racing and some really good race cars being built for it.
You said it, Ryan. Where can people follow you? We're excited that we get to showcase you on all the quick series races. People can see you Friday nights. I believe Rogers TV is still involved with Delaware Speedway for this year, so they can see you through that every Friday night. But if they want to find you on social media, if they want to see if you got another spot on that race car for the Pinty series, where can they find you?
JRDmotorsports.ca is our home base, and then we're really trying to grow our YouTube channel, JRD Motorsports on YouTube. We run vlogs. For anyone who's seen kind of Hunt the Front or Landon Huffman or anything like that, we do something very similar. We run 2 to 3 vlogs usually through the week. We like to show behind the scenes of what we're doing. Right from we got one coming out tomorrow of us wrapping the race car. We announced our Pinty series in vlog style. It's just something that we're really passionate about, and it's something that has honestly really helped us get to that level. So JRD Motorsports on YouTube. We'd appreciate all the subscribers. And then we're on pretty much every single social media platform there is, from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We have lots of fun, and it's definitely a good avenue for us to help promote our team and promote our sponsors and everything. And it's definitely growing. And being on here with you tonight will definitely help that.
Awesome, Ryan. We appreciate you coming on. We wish you all the best. And, you're the type of guy that we need more of in this sport. Not just getting behind the wheel, pushing it from all sides. And from our side, we appreciate it too. And we're proud to be the providing streamer for the series this year again.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. I don't know. Go back and watch our races on G-Force and stuff, like probably 2, 3, 4 times a week, whether it's trying to learn or just seeing what you guys are doing or just going back to relive it. So we really, really appreciate what you guys do, and I appreciate being on here tonight and everyone's support. And the last 2 days has been pretty wild.
Ryan Dyson, a name to remember. You're going to see him at Delaware Speedway at the end of September in the NASCAR Pinty Series. You'll see him all season long in the Quick Superstocks, in his own Superstock program at Delaware Speedway. And Clint, one of the nice guys. We say that a lot, but racing has a lot of them. But to come from where he did, from the media side of racing into a race car, like he said, is fairly backwards.
Yeah, him and his brother Jamie have done a great job with the APC series on the media side, and they've been great help to us for the past few years as well. So all the best to them. Our next guest is waiting, and this was kind of a mix-up. Sorry, we had Greg on the line for a long time. I mixed Greg all around, and then I asked him to come on at 8:10, and then we mistakenly took Ryan too early. So Greg's been on the hold for a while here. Probably his busiest week ever, and here we are wasting his time.
What else does he have going on this week? Greg McPherson, good to see you.
Oh, hey guys, thanks so much for having me on.
Greg, go ahead, Adam.
Why have Clinton and I gone so gray? And I look at you, and you still look as fresh as you have 25 years ago in a demanding week.
That's not the problem. It's you guys are so brown. I've been living in this office for 3 months. Guys are killing me with the pictures from the holiday.
We did have.
Oh, there's more to come.
Greg, let's talk about the week ahead. How are things going? Obviously, the Motorama show kicks off this week. How are things going?
Really, really good. It's exhausting, and we're almost to the start line and I guess the finish line. But it is so good. It just feels like old times. I keep saying it would be like 2019, but it's even better than that. Like everybody's come out. It seems like there's a real demand for people to get back to doing the things they loved and in person. And we saw it, I guess, at the car show in downtown Toronto and some other things. And we're hoping it's the same with us, and it sure feels like that.
How challenging are the final few days leading up to the show, Greg? Is the blueprint laid out, or is there always some loose ends?
There is always. So, someone will be loading a car into a trailer and drops it and says you can't come, or some guys wrapped it and get done in time. And so you kind of build in some, backups for when these things happen. But yeah, it's like anything. You've got your plan for what you're going to do, and here's how my day's going to go. And it never goes like that. It's just, you're just putting out fires and, helping people. And you just deal with so many people, and they're just like, oh, I've just got this little thing. I've got this little thing. And it's just the way it goes. And we're so happy that they're coming to the show and, that they want to be part of it. But yeah, it's just, you cherish the weekends because the emails and phones slow down a bit and you can actually get stuff done.
Spencer, roll the flyer while Greg tells us a bit about the show. Greg, give us the show times for the weekend. It's at the International Center in Mississauga, right on Airport Road, right by the Pearson International Airport. Give us the show times.
Yeah, so we open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 10 a.m. every day, and we go till 8 on Friday and Saturday, and we finish at 5 on Sunday.
As we look at the graphics, eBay Motors presents the Toronto Motorama Custom Car and Motorsports Expo. And how long has this show, excuse me, it hasn't always been called Motorama. I know there's been some changes, but how long has this March car show been going on in Toronto? I know it's been going on since I was in high school.
Yeah, so got a bit of a history lesson. Possibly the only upside of the pandemic was in 2001 when we couldn't do the shit, or 2021 when we couldn't do the show. We in an issue of Inside Track, we did a tribute to the history of the show. So going back to 1975 when it was Dizzy Dean Murray and Motion, and he put it on, and neat things he did, like bringing up Johnny Cash's car, and tons of people went to that show forever. Dizzy Dean was a legend. Then it transitioned into performance world for a long time under Larry King, and Megaspeed for 3 years before we had it, and now this is our 8th time doing it. And
Wow.
yeah, it's been the start of that March break weekend every year since 1975, except for when we couldn't put the show on, and then this last April when we put it on just so we could get it in and get around the remaining limitations from pandemic. Like, didn't want to be having to check, people's COVID passports, vaccine passports, and masking and all that stuff. So we pushed it back, and we were so glad we were able to even put it on last year. But it wasn't ideal with the racing season and being right on that same weekend. And the weather was too nice. So some people did some other things, like say on the Saturday, but we were about 70% last year, which was a blessing compared to the last couple of years. So, but it just feels like old times again now.
Do you know, me and Adam met at your show years ago, 25 years ago. I'm pretty sure it was a spring show. That's where Glenn Stiers introduced me to writer Adam Ross and said,
I hope you won't hold that against me.
No.
Right?
We had our 25th honeymoon on the weekend in Mexico, so everything's good.
Yeah.
Let's talk about.
Did you ever vacation? Have you ever traveled with Dave Weber or John Hopkins or the late Rob Morton?
Gosh, yeah, we've done some weekends and some things, but yeah, and then John Hopkins, I knew him in university. That's how we got together. Like we were in a frat at U of T, so we were best friends before we ever worked together.
Okay, so I didn't know that. Sorry, Clint, go ahead.
Yeah, we finished at U of T in 1990 when that was like a 2008 when everyone was getting laid off, and we got on at this other little racing magazine because there was nothing else to do, and that's how it all started.
So, Greg, lots of halls of action. Hall 1 is typically all your major top 10 show cars, the nicest cars that have basically been ever built, or that you're probably ever going to see. The big thing I want to talk, then we got the racing hall. You've got the, help me out now, in the very back.
Oh, there's like Truckorama area. Yeah. Truckorama's in Hall 2. Yeah, Truckorama, okay. Like lifted stuff, SEMA cars, like trucks, crazy. The Spring Fever, like the kind of tuner import, kind of exotic modified type area. And then in that back corner, Hall 3, it's just its own room. It's like the size of a hockey rink, 30,000 square feet. Called it Mayhem. And it's sort of got that traditional, car feel, pinup pageant, 50s music playing the whole time. So those are sort of the zones of the show.
I got a 50s haircut there a couple years back. But Adam, what I was alluding to is, you got some stars coming in. Bad Chad's coming in from the East Coast to chop up Kenny Holmes' classic car there, and they're going to chop the roof on that live at the show. So if you're into, classic car building and that, you're going to be able to watch this star do it. Dave Kindig's coming in. That's another, A-list automotive celebrity that, even speaking about barbers, when I got my hair cut before Mexico, he said, "Who's coming in?" I said, Kindig's. He said, "I got to go then." So, talk about some of the big stars that you're bringing in, who kind of represent all car culture, not just racing and maybe what our fans do. But if you're any fan of automotive, these are guys you know.
Oh, totally. We're amazed. Like Bad Chad and Jolene came last year, and just I think more than anyone, the numbers. Like when they post something about the show, it goes crazy. So they're currently, I think I just traded notes with Jolene. They're getting on a plane. They've spent the last couple of weeks at car shows and stuff in Australia. So they're flying straight from there, coming to the show and doing the roof chop. So just they're really nice people. And then Kindig, my goodness, like if you go, well, everyone knows Bitch and Rides, that's on all the time and everywhere. But yeah, if you ever have the opportunity to go to SEMA, it's like he's like the new Chip Foose or something, like just huge. All of his builds, it's like rock star status. So it's so cool that he's coming to the show.
Clint, can we go to our next topic with Greg? Because I'd be interested in knowing his thoughts on it.
Yeah.
So, Greg, Clint and I have talked about this a little bit, obviously off the air, because we only just came on the air. Chase Elliott and his broken leg. You've been around the sport a long time, so we've seen things similar to this. On a scale of 1 to he shouldn't have done that, where does this fall in your mind?
Yeah, I don't know. Like they've got commitments and things are risky. Like obviously you got to live your life, but there's some things that are more out there than not. I laugh. Almost way back when we were getting started, I played in this pickup hockey game. I think it was like Tuesday nights up in Unionville, and John Hopkins was in net. Jeff Arend, I think before he ever went drag racing, he played because he worked with some of the guys. Scott Maxwell was playing, and Ron Fellows. And right before I got there, Paul Tracy would play. But he signed with Penske, and he was no longer allowed to play hockey. So, so he's only allowed to drive around Michigan Speedway at 2:30, but don't play hockey. So, but in this case, he got hurt. It's a mess up, and it affects things.
Adam, let me bring it to you. So it has been compared in the social media circles, saying, okay, well, as racers, we accept them going out to race sprint cars, midgets, all these other types of motorsports that are just as dangerous as skiing. So why is it accepted when they go and hurt themselves in a race car, but they hurt themselves skiing? It's not. And just for the record, I'm full. What the hell were you thinking? You're making millions of dollars for 10 months of the year. You've got 2 months to ski. If you don't like it, quit your job and ski more attitude. So I'm on the full. This was fully stupid. Anyway, you slice.
I don't often open up with this, Clinton, but I'm going to open up. I could be 100% wrong. But I can argue that if you're Kyle Larson, if you're Christopher Bell, if you were Tony Stewart in his heyday, doing all the barnstorming, while yes, it was extremely dangerous, it made them better on Sunday.
Okay.
They came back to their cup cars sharper. Like all they did all week long was sharpen their pencil to show up on the weekend and perform to their best. I don't believe downhill skiing or snowboarding assists you to make you better at your day job. I don't care what a racer does, but I would have more sympathy for someone who tripped over their cat leaving the house and broke their leg than I do for someone choosing to go hurl themselves down a mountain. Like I say, I could be wrong. Maybe that's heartless of me, but it reminds me of a quick story. Back in 2008 or 2009, the whole NASCAR clan goes out to Vernon, BC to race out there, and we had some downtime. And there was 4 or 5 of us that went downhill mountain biking the day before we were to head off to a race, and we all crashed. I believe Sean Gibbs still has scars from his crash. I ate shit hard that day. And we caught hell from Brad Moran. He said, "What were you guys thinking?" I knew it would take a horrible injury for me not to be able to announce. Sean Gibbs a little bit different. He had to twirl the flags the next day. But even at that level, Brad Moran's like, you guys need to understand your priorities and think about, well, why you're out here. So either one of you two, please tell, is there anything about skiing or snowboarding that would make Chase Elliott better at his job?
No,
Right.
and the other thing is it's the type of people they are too. Like my wife and I got into skiing about 5 years ago a little bit, and like touch wood, like I've yet to fall down. Like I just take it nice and slow and easy. But someone like Chase Elliott, a race car driver, it'd be like gonna send it. He's gonna go Jason White straight down the hill on you.
Right.
Now, next question. Does he deserve a waiver to compete in the championship? Adam?
I could get in big trouble for this, but I think the championship is a gimmick anymore. And yeah, he should. It fits their gimmick. It fits what they have turned it into, because it is no longer the championship that we think of. So just like What if who
Yeah,
did
but they did it a
Purdy
couple
fill
years
in
ago. Like
for?
Kyle Busch did it,
Oh
right?
yeah.
When he
Kyle,
broke his legs in the Xfinity race at Daytona. How many? He missed
yeah.
10 races in the Cup, and then he still won the championship.
And Tony Stewart got a waiver
Yeah.
as well when he hurt himself on an off-road machine. So in that sense, yeah, I'm fine with it because it's so much different than it used to be. They're going to make the rules up as they see fit, but at the same time, who was the quarterback of the 49ers, Clinton, that got hurt and he was out, and that's why Purdy had to come in?
Oh,
I'm drawing a blank. Garoppolo?
Yeah.
So if he'd have
Garoppolo.
come back, in time for the playoffs, they're not going to say, "Oh, you can't play now. You weren't here to get us here." Sure, if he's better than Purdy, he's going to go in. So in that sense, I'm good with it. It's business in the sense that old school me says you owe it. You owe it to the hundreds of people that work for Hendrick Motorsports not to do that. Again, live your life, do your thing, but you need to be able to show up. If it was an accident, for the sake of a car accident, something that could happen to anybody, but because it was done the way it was done, I think that's poor judgment.
Yeah, I know it's good to have fun, but yeah, if you go too far and you get burned, then you look dumb.
All right, Greg, one more question, I'll let you go because we know you got to get back to work for your busy weekend. You're a race fan like we are. One of our longtime viewers, Robbie Longboat, asked, do you think NASCAR puts out the yellow on purpose to make better finishes? So that's the fan bag question this week. Greg, you want to take that first? Or, you know what? We'll take it easy on you. Adam, we'll throw you first. Give Greg a moment to form his opinion. Go for it.
They used to. Before the days of instant replay, and they used to do a really good job. So if you're at Pocono and you need a yellow, there's debris in the short chute. It's not in front of the grandstands. They're going to send a safety truck out there. The person in the safety truck is going to know enough to get out of the truck, look like they're picking something up, put it back in. That used to happen. We're in show business. These days, I think there is a fairly rigid structure. I think there is gray area. They can choose when not to bring out a yellow. They can choose maybe, okay, that car just brushed the wall. We're going to go yellow anyhow. So I think it still happens to where there is some discretion. It's pretty hard to make a fully fictitious bullshit restart with the number of cameras on the sport today.
Yeah, it is. Getting back to your earlier point, like there is a lot contrived about it, whether it's the chase or all that. But yeah, I don't think there's the person running the race isn't in marketing per se. I don't know who's tapping him on the shoulder, but I don't think it's in their interest or in list of priorities to say I've got to make this interesting. I've got to do something. So maybe someone back in Daytona's wishing it, but I can't see anyone I've ever met doing something in a race to change the outcome that way.
What do you think, Clint?
I just think, at the top level sport, they're taking it as seriously as they possibly can, not because there's cameras on it. I look at the folks that we have personal relationships in those positions running the races. A guy like Doug Leonard, a guy like Bob Cinnamon Jr. before him, any of the good race directors that I've ever known, a guy like Alex Nagy, for example, they want to go home with the perfect call. Just like any referee, you don't want to go home or whatever sport you're in feeling you missed an important call or you made a bad call. So that they, at the heart, take their own pride into consideration. And I know Dougie, for example, if he misses something, he'll eat that for a week until he can get back there in the saddle and feel better about making things right. He can't turn it back, and that's why it really eats him. So I don't think they're fabricating things. Hey, Adam, let's call it spade a spade. 20 years ago, Rush Weekend Speedway, we used to have a code because we only had 7 cars, and someone would be stinking up the race so bad, we'd say, hey, if you get a debris high in turn 3, you walk out on that track, you pick the biggest clump of mud you can, you throw it up over the berm away from where everybody can see it. It doesn't work today because we have so many competitors, so many eyes. Yeah. There's cameras. How many times do we get greeted at the tech barn with, oh, my girlfriend caught the whole thing and you guys missed it all? It happens, so there's just too many eyes. I think everybody's trying to do the best job they can. I still have a little bit concern about them not racing back on a place like Daytona. There, it's so tight.
The world, and I still live in a bit of a corporate world with the job that I do with Cal Tire. Safety is the number one priority. We're in the business of selling tires and servicing tires. Safety first. And I mock that sometimes in the racing side of things. My opinion is the black and white needs to stay black and white, which, Clint, if you remember, is why I got so upset at CTMP in the spring when they left that race green with a car parked on the back straightaway. I was losing my mind, and I still was pretty vocal about it, but not to the point where I thought you can't miss the black and white stuff. The gray stuff, and there is a fair bit, as long as I believe, and what does my opinion matter, as long as Joe Public believes that the integrity is there, and I like to think the people making those calls do have integrity in mind over top of entertainment, then we can all be happy when we go home after watching a race. But there are occasions where you think that didn't necessarily need to be a yellow. But imagine the repercussions if what looks like a car simply brushing the wall and coming off the wall, and they stay green. One piece comes off that car and cuts a right front tire, and the driver is seriously injured or worse after cutting that right front. They can't afford for that to happen. So I think you really have to spin your wheels and think about the reasons why they make the decisions that they make and why it's so important that they have that good judgment. But I could be wrong, Greg. You might be.
No, I'm just saying
might
also
be as cynical as I.
No, I am. But also the other thing is there's money being bet on these things now. So if it came out that it was contrived, the outcome, something was being done to put the hand on the measure, then the balances, then that would smell.
Well, let's talk about betting as TrueNorth.bet comes on our banner screen. I'm willing to bet you're going to have a great crowd and a great turnout this weekend at the show, Greg. In parting, maybe give any of the social media stuff, any of the website stuff where any of our viewers may want to get information on the show, pricing, times, and some of the attractions you're going to have. Where can they find it?
Sure. Motoramashow.com. Just go there, and that's your starting point. Right at the top, the page, it's got for tickets, show info, schedule. We've got a link to the show program. We've already published that. So if someone wants to go in, 72 pages of all the things that are happening at the show, features, sponsor profiles, celebrity profiles. It's all there. So yeah, Motoramashow.com is your starting point, and you can go from there.
It's funny. I wasn't entirely pumped up about the show. We've had other things going on, and work has been busy. But just this conversation and remembering the history and stuff, remembering meeting Clint in the late '90s at Motorama, and just over the years, I've got to be there. I got to make sure I spend quite a bit of quality time there this weekend. It's just an important event on that calendar. So thanks for coming out and reminding us that, Greg.
No, thank you so much, guys. And I can see it too. It's funny, like we've been going crazy promoting, and you hope some of it catches. But now we're getting tagged on things. People are doing their own things. Come see us. We're doing this. Come visit us at the show. So all the people who are part of it are all excited and looking forward to it too.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Greg.
We'll see you on the weekend.
We'll be there.
Thank you, guys. Thanks. Awesome.
Greg McPherson from Inside Track Motorsport News, and of course, Motorama coming up this weekend. It's going to be a great show. Adam, just on that side, if you're a racer, the networking side of things there is great. Some of the best deals we've been able to make in the past 5 to 6 years for Rush Weekend, for G-Force, a lot of our good business comes out of Motorama. So make sure you get down there, make the most of it, make some new contacts, and build on relationships you've already got. Of course, 130 plus champions will be honored on Saturday night as part of the Fast 8 United Champions up on the stage receiving their accolades. So make sure you check it out. And that's good. How about we hit a couple of questions here? Go ahead.
So, give me one sec. Hear me on this, folks. If you are a racer or a fan or a crew member, which you're probably one of those things if you're watching this show, stop by the Freshstone Foods booth. Stop by and see some of these advertisers and just mention to them how much you appreciate them getting involved in the sport. because it makes a difference. Part of what these people do and part of why they make the decisions they do is because racing fans are as passionate and supportive as any fans in the world. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't do your part to say, thanks for getting involved. Thanks for propping this sport up. We'll support you, and thanks for supporting us.
Yeah, great point, Adam. A lot of our big partners will be there, from Fast Eddie, Quick, Freshstone, NTN in the past. We've got a whole bunch of them out there. Make sure you stop over and see them, and let them know you appreciate them getting behind our programming, and just supporting the sport in general, because every one of those names we just talked about does a lot more than just what they do for us. So we really appreciate that. Yeah, Francis Merrittville Mall shows next week here in the Penn Center in St. Catharines. So that's cool. Derek asked a question: does Oshwegan have any plans on hosting an All-Star or a High Limit 410 show? I think we would entertain that. I still think the border is a big problem for a lot of these guys, and it's no longer a COVID thing or a vaccine thing. It gets back to the problem which we had with the Outlaws not coming before that, which is the enhanced over. A lot of these Southern guys just don't care about coming to Canada. They never had to get a passport. They don't travel very far. They just race. So, yeah, I would entertain the negotiation. But I mean, we try to get the short track super series. I mean, I didn't talk much about this, but we did make an offer to Brett Deo. We did have a date. We did have a budget, and it kind of got ghosted. So whatever, he went to Quebec. So we tried to get them to come to Oshwegan. Didn't work out. But in the end, we're still going after large shows. But in the meantime, we're going to continue to put the money and the effort into supporting the 360s, building big shows, big events for them. Proud to announce that Sit and Bull Tire is going to have a shootout as part of the NASCAR race with the Freshstone and Pinty's events are happening. That's going to be a big deal. $5,000 to win both nights there. So it's going to be exciting on that. Pumped up for that. Just let me check off a couple more here, Adam. Warren asked twice now, tires situation at the Big O. I assume you're talking about the Thunderstock division. That's still being negotiated. We're trying to figure out where we're going to go, but the rule's been written. Same tires. You have to have one brand that you qualify on, the same brand that you'll finish the night on. It has been discussed, but as far as I know, we're still hanging on. Ricky, we did ask for Travis Pastrana to be sent to the Big O. We made the request. You never know where that can come. In the past, we made requests for Casey Kane and got him, Tony Stewart, Rico, and Bell. So maybe Pastrana will fit in that handful too. Okay, Adam, where do you want to go now?
Given the time we've got left, there's some things that we can hold off until next week, Clinton. Although I do want to get to this. That's great, but who won? I'm all for hype. If you're a PR person for a race team, you should do PR for your race team. That's all that matters. If you're a media outlet, you better tell the freaking story. Otherwise, all you are is hyping up propaganda for someone who doesn't need hyping up. And what upset me about this was it was a great opportunity to showcase someone that likely we've never heard of. And the comment was about Brexton Bush and what a big deal it was because they brought his Bandolero out and Kyle Busch's $500,000 truck hauler. Oh, whatever. What are they going to do? Take a separate pickup truck and a flatbed to bring it out? That makes sense to me. Hell, there were probably others there in a $500,000 tow rig as well, because that's just how some of those events go anymore. But Spencer, go ahead and throw that up if you've got it. Brexton Busch is going to be a big deal. It's Kyle Busch's kid. I get that. People think it's cute. I get that. He did not win the race. So if you are a journalist posting a story about that race, even if it's clickbait, Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Brexton may not have won tonight, but the next era of Busch family racing marked his name in history at the Bull Ring. All they needed to do was put congratulations to Joe Smith, who did take the win. I'm Joe Smith. Screw you, Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Yep. No, I agree. And you know what? I think they're putting undue pressure on the kid. He's already living under the shadow of the family name. Uncle and dad are stars. He's already got that pressure. But now you're making people dislike him. Not only because his dad's an ass, but because, it's just, this is the stuff. You're making us care about it, but we don't. It shouldn't be a story, right? I agree with your frustration there. We can buzz through a couple quick things here. Flamborough signs with TrackTune, so that's cool. It's a new app you can pick up on your phone, all the audio. Kind of a more modern version of the FM transmitter that all the speedways had. So cool on them. Make sure you check it out. You can pick it up at the App Store or Google Play. Pick up TrackTune. We'll look more into that as we get into that. NASCAR tracking commercials. This was just something quick, Adam. I want to show you. Throw this one up, Spencer. This is numbers from a recent NASCAR race. The total race green to checker is 3 hours 8 minutes. Total commercial breaks 18. Total commercials 107. I thought this was some interesting stats. The longest commercial was for Paxlovid, and the asterisk or the bracket says 40 seconds devoted just to the negative side effects. We've gone over the rails with these pharmaceutical commercials on TV lately, but and then a tie between Coke and Wendy's with 6 each. I would think that Coca-Cola and Wendy's would have had more than 6 commercials in a 3-hour broadcast on NASCAR, but just an interesting breakdown, Adam. Any thoughts on that? I thought it was kind of cool that they're laying it out like that.
No, just that I think it's cool they're laying it out like that. I do think that's pretty neat. What was I going to say that? Oh, speaking of the way things are laid out and the way they're pitched, I don't know what you said that made me think of it, but Woody Harrelson. Oh, pharmaceutical. Woody Harrelson's monologue on Saturday Night Live a couple weeks ago. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it on YouTube, because it has a lot to do with a big drug cartel that takes over the world. But turns out he's talking about big pharma.
Oh, yeah. A lot of chatter about F1 in the comments too. Man, I fell in love with F1. I was telling Adam about it on our vacation there. I got it on my Fire Stick, and man, I can watch all the channels. I can watch every in-car camera. The Sky Sports coverage is unbelievable of F1, and it's what everybody should aspire to be. Full immersion. It's so good. Well, let's talk about our vacation, Adam. We had a good week. 5 days.
First, the shirt. The shirt, because you might, and we've mentioned it before, but this was an inside joke at the Sprint Car Nationals a few years ago. There was a 98% chance we would not get the show in Friday night. And all of us up in the tower, Darren Shawcross and Greg Callan and I, whoever else, is let's get those 7 races in. As long as we get 7 races in, we get paid for our night of work. So for like 7 races, the very next day, Darren Shawcross's wife, who was sadly not with us anymore, showed up with a shirt, #7 races, and then some dollar signs underneath. So once in a while, I like to pull it out of the pile and throw it on. And Clint, it was an inside joke, and you were not on the inside of it, so that was fun.
Yeah, that was a dig at management, and I was on the management side of the fence that night. And you're just lucky I didn't see it, or I made sure Doug pulled the plug at 6.7% of the races, and we'd be good to go. Dual airbags back in Mexico. What do you want to talk about?
Well, how funny is it? Apparently, when we cross 2 borders, Clinton becomes Adam, and Adam becomes Clinton. Because I've been across 1 border with you, and you are still the party animal. You're the life of the party. Once we crossed that 2nd border, and it was all good. We had a blast. It reminded me of the trip my wife and I took to New York City about 6-7 years ago. We had never gone away together without the kids, or without at least Devin, because he was 4 when we met. We weren't even sure if we could tolerate each other. 25 years together, we've never gone on a vacation. We've never done anything like this, but we had a hell of a time. It was just fun for those few days, and I took advantage of the all-inclusive.
Adam was a blast this weekend. So I got sick the first day, and then I drank water the rest of it. It was relaxing. It was like the best detox I had. No Pepsi, no racing, no nothing for 5 days. But no, just to relax. We met some amazing people from all over. And that's one thing about Adam Ross that you guys don't know. And yeah, I've had the reputation as the party animal. You were always the go-to-bed early, behave yourself guy. And here I am being the chaperone. And Adam took full advantage of the swim-up bar, I can tell you that. Resort was gorgeous. So that's from my vantage point. Adam's somewhere in that mix at the swim-up bar, I think.
That's me with the big... no, I got the big hat on.
Oh, right in front.
So Bottom, yeah.
It was a gorgeous place. Show a couple more pictures, Spencer. It was just beautiful. And that's how we spent from Friday till, 24 hours ago, pretty much. Now we got on the plane and flew back home. But just a beautiful resort. a good bit of time to relax before we go out. And yeah, Adam, I mean, we met how many people from all over the place? Must have met 50 great
Delaware,
people.
Farmers from Kentucky, bunch of people from Delaware, don't know what they do. Fabulous couple from Michigan, Scott and Mary, we had a lot of fun with. Chicago, and that's
Texas.
how. So you refer to people as whatever is their most distinguishing feature. So Amarillo, we met George Strait and his wife because the fellow looked just like George Strait.
Man, did he ever look like George Strait?
There was the big ginger. Don't know where he was from, but it's funny. We were the Canadians, right? So hey, Canadians, it's time for a shot. I met so many people, Clint, and we would do so many shots with them. The last day, I just wanted to relax. I just wanted to chill out, and people kept repaying the shots over the course of the previous 3 days, and I was a mess. Fran, did we meet any locals? Not really, but I met one couple from Camillus, New York, which was really cool because I lived as a kid in Elbridge, New York, and it is very rare to meet someone who has ever heard of Elbridge, New York. So that was our version of the locals, and just had a great time.
Well,
but here, so okay. I was intoxicated most of the time, so it made me a little bit more extroverted. And there was great entertainment at this club. There were some great singers. On one particular night, we go and watch a one-man comedy act. It was kind of a variety show. And I thought, this guy does a really neat job. He's very animated, very funny, and he's looking for volunteers. He took kids from the front row. And for some reason, we all knew he was headed our way. And there's Clint pointing at me. There's my wife pointing at me. I'm thinking, you know what? I've already wiped out on the Flow Rider Surf Simulator, like in 0.5 seconds. Like, I have already done my share to entertain the crowds around. It's time for somebody else. And sure enough, it was time for somebody else. Who knew Clinton, the clown, Geoffrey, could perform like this? Folks, this is going to be a little bit of time. We may talk over it. I want to see all the comments you can muster. Because, Clinton, if you don't make it in the racing industry, you've got a career as a clown.
See, I was hoping I could just close out the night, let you guys make the mockery. I wouldn't have to face it. I'm sure I'd get some throwback at Motorama this weekend, but all right, let me take the licks. No, I'll throw the clips up. We don't need to watch the whole 10 minutes.
If you want the full version, it can be made available. Clint holding up his little flaccid. His is so big.
He was a good performer, though.
He was excellent.
Baby steps. Okay, yeah, just put it aside. Yeah, take your time, okay?
This was one of the more impressive things I've seen.
By him or me?
Not by him. You know he's going to do it. Thank you, Sarah. Now look, he can't get it over his belt.
You sure it was the belt I couldn't get it over?
I'm pretty sure.
But pants
Water wasn't that cold. And still you almost dropped trow.
That should be your weight loss challenge. See if you can fit through a racket by the end of this off season.
And this became the longest sketch because he wanted to find something Clint couldn't do.
I feel like Chevy Chase in European Vacation when he's up there dancing.
Yep. This is where it gets dangerous.
Right, no, he's trying to do my job, okay?
My favorite part's coming up, and I don't know if Spencer left it in or not. This might be it. It's where he storms off the stage to take up with Clint's wife.
You know what? Stay with my show. I don't want to be part of this, man. Oh, boy. You look good, man. Okay.
The cameraman got confused. I was a little troubled at this point.
Come on, do your thing. Oh, wait a second.
See, I don't know what I did there, but got him out of the chair.
I don't remember either.
Personal, man.
I think I threw the knife behind my back.
But he was excellent, and so were you. But he was a good entertainer. He dealt with this all fairly well.
I think that's probably all we need to see. I don't know what more there is. He just juggles over top of me, right?
I don't know, the hard hat over you.
Couldn't do that part.
Here's Clint trying to talk his way out of it.
Don't worry, I know it's hard.
Spencer, if you like the hard hat enough, we can roll with it.
Forget not. He's already on the stage with me, sir. Can you tell me? Easy. Oh, okay. Sir, what was your name? Easy. Clinton. Okay, Clinton. Please, Clinton. Don't move and don't worry. You are in front of a professional jogger. Whoa. Wait a second. Safety first, man. Oh, safety first. Okay. Oh, man. Clinton, please. All right. Here we go. Now, let's continue. What? Oh, I'm sorry, man. Much better here. Okay. Now, my friend.
And then and look at the comments are coming in, Clinton. People are enjoying. But it was a good time, good show, good food. I got home probably about 10 after 2 this morning. And I was up at 6 and off to work for an 8 o'clock sales meeting. Even Twitch at Motorsports, who comments a lot here, said you could have done the sales meeting from home, but no, that's mailing it in. You got to. My mental health took a shit kicking today, though, because let me tell you, trying to function on just a few hours of sleep, probably the hangover as well, the detox that you go through. I got to took about a 2.5 hour nap today when I got home, but hopefully we'll be back on the right side of the energy scales tomorrow.
Well, you made it. We made it safe back. I think we're rejuvenated and ready to kick it. Make sure everybody stops by the Ohsweken Speedway booth this weekend. We'll be there with one of Glenn's cars. We'll have some posters to stop by, check out. We're going to run a social media contest this weekend as well. So super excited to be there.
And there was comments about intermission at Ohsweken. And Clint, we had that conversation. Say, how cool would that be, especially with the 5-day show coming out, to have that kind of entertainment? And you've taken it a step further. We'll see where it all goes. But it's amazing what you see, and it doesn't matter where you are. You might be at a local mall, you might be at a different event, you might be in Mexico. We'll see, hey, we could bring that to the fans, and they'd really get a kick out of that. It's always about finding new things that are cool. But that was, folks, your Burger Barn video of the week, featuring the great Clinton Geoffrey.
Yeah, some things I picked up, even the little stage setup they had there, Adam. I was taking pictures of that, thinking, man, we need to build this in the pits at Ohsweken. That kind of ties into Phil Nell's question about entertainment at the Pinty camp in there for 5 days. We're gonna have a super ticket, including pit access for $125. Heck yeah, we're gonna have something going on. and you can imagine it's going to be great. So I think we need to go let Adam get back to bed because he got up just for us. We appreciate that. And we have a busy weekend ahead. We'll be at Motorama all weekend, and hope to see you there.
How are we going to do this? Because we already talked to Spencer about joining us next time, like when we have a G-Force meeting, but Spencer can't be seen. So if you see a sketch like this at our next trip, Spencer probably is the clown. We just can't tell anybody that's who it is. So we'll have to keep those. Mysteries
yeah, instead
alive.
of Where's Waldo, it'll be Spot Spencer. And if you ever see him in public and get a picture with him and hashtag it, we might have to give you a G-Force prize pack.
But thanks so much, folks. It seems like a long week since our last show, but it was just 7 days, and it's going to be just 7 days till our next show.
Right on. Thanks to our guests, Ryan Dyson, Greg McPherson. Make sure you get out to Motorama this weekend. If you're watching this show, there'll be lots for you to see. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Spencer, for everything you do, and we'll see you next Tuesday.